Hello and welcome to another episode of Workplace Wizards Podcast, where we're helping individuals and organizations improve their workplace environment. Our sponsor is Small World Solutions with their strategic performance systems. And what does that help? It's to help individuals and organizations attract and retain top talent. We help you build your team collaboration, and the ROI is the return on investment is higher productivity. So remember, nothing changes if nothing changes. That's our motto. So make sure you remember nothing changes if nothing changes. So I'm your host, Arnold Smalley, along with our co-host, Gavin Wong.
Hey, Smalley, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Gavin. Today's topic is going to be our biases. We're talking about our biases. Do our biases interfere with our decision making?
Why are you talking about that today then?
Well, why am I talking about that today? Because, Gavin, it's FIFA time, and everybody's watching the FIFA World Cup Championship, and there's a big match. And first and foremost, congratulations to England. Gavin's team gets into the quarterfinals.
Whoa.
Semifinals.
Semifinals. Thank you very much.
They get into the semifinals, but we're going to talk about the quarterfinals match. England against Norway. Now, I watched the game, Gavin. And I actually enjoyed it with some. I even ate some English food. I had some fish and chips, with the vinegar on the fries, and I enjoyed watching the game, and I thought it was a very fascinating game. However, there was two calls during that game that I felt kind of suspicious. Norway's player, their captain, or their number one goal scorer, they were going to score their second goal, and he pushes a guy off of him and runs around, and they kick the ball, whatever. Mm-hmm. They score the goal. Mm-hmm. And then the goal was nullified or taken away because he pushed that guy. So they showed it. They showed it like 10 times. Here he is pushing the guy off of him, and he runs around. Now there was a whole lot of pushing and shoving going on, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so he pushes that guy. They take the goal away. This time, about 5 minutes left going into the game. 5 minutes later, there was Norway's getting ready to score, and they kicks the ball and it hits the top of the goalpost. Now you can tell by the way I'm describing these things that I'm not a big soccer fan. So I don't know all the terminology, but I watched the game. So the ball ricochets off the top of the goalpost, and it goes up in the air, and it starts to come down like in front of the goal. And the guy from Norway jumps to head it, and the guy from England pushed him in the back and pushed him towards the goal, and the ball went over his head. So he didn't get a chance to score that. Now, what was the difference between the two pushes? Was there some bias in these officiating?
Well, absolutely. Categorically, no biases at all. Nothing wrong decision. Next podcast, please. What's the next podcast?
So there it is. There it is, folks. So the Englishman says no bias whatsoever because the calls were in his favor. However, let's get somebody from Norway. Let's get a Norwegian on this podcast, and let's ask them the same question.
No. We've got the Englishman who understands soccer, football, says it's nothing wrong, and then the American man who admits doesn't know anything about football is complaining about it. What can I say?
Wait. I wasn't complaining. I'm just saying there's two identical situations where there was pushing inside of the box.
Well, I'll be honest. They didn't show that pushing bit on the second on the disallowed goal on our.
They didn't show it on English TV.
Don't remember saying that. So whether there was some biases there, but it's a good point. Now whether there was some biases playing out with the referees or not, I don't know. But it's a really good discussion about do biases interfere with our decisions.
Yes.
And the reality is, and there's plenty of research around this, is that humans aren't really able to make it's hard for us to make decisions without some form of bias.
Thank you. All right, so it's hard to make an unbiased decision. It's hard to make
impartial is the word I'm looking for. We think we are. We want to be. We because we value fairness and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And we think that we're being impartial with everything that we do. But the reality is that because we make decisions so quickly, and a lot of it's based on gut feel and experience and all these sort of things, which happens, the reality is that our subconscious overtakes our logical thinking because it acts quicker. So it's very hard for us to actually make impartial decisions.
All right. So the key word you said in there was the subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key word in that, because a lot of times people don't even understand that they're being biased.
Yes.
Like since we're talking sports, because we're going to turn this into the workplace environment.
Yeah.
But since we're talking sports, they did a thing for all basketball officiated games. So they took all the referees and the umpires and everybody who officiates a basketball game, and they looked at all their calls and no calls, and they found that white officials were favoritism more towards white NBA players, and the black officials were more favoritism, calls and no calls towards black players. So, or it can even do it to stars of the games. Like I think we talked about. We talked a little bit about how a star of the game can get preferential treatment. And you brought up a little bit about Caitlin Clark in the WNBA and how much positive she's brought to the WNBA, and I was explaining like, hey, it also had a lot to do with the controversy. Because it was, and like you said, she was the great white hope or whatever, and had that big following and bringing that into the NBA. But I think the following was caused by the black and white tension that she had with the LSU team, and that tension and that controversy right there. I think that drew so much attention that that NCAA tournament championship was probably one of the most watched NCAA tournaments because of that. It was because there was so much controversy going on between the two teams.
Yes.
And then that continued into the NBA. So I love it that yes, she's doing great. Caitlin's doing great for the WNBA, and so are all the Angel Reese, and all the other players are doing the same. But I think it was that controversy that got people to watch that even more than just their own following.
Yes, and that kind of makes sense. And I think the sport's quite a good way to kind of or segue into kind of that leadership role, because we do, it is true that you talk about whether it's through social media or from what people are just hearing through the normal media about people, they will form impressions about people, and whether they like it or not, that's in there subconsciously. So, a referee might hear about a certain player that is, which is relevant, which is going on the news, and whether they like it or not, that will always be in their mind. So one of the things which plays out, and this plays out a lot in the workplace, is that what tends to happen a lot is because the way the brain works, that we, and Daniel Kahneman will talk about system 1 and system 2 thinking, actually, about system 1's you're very quick thinking, it's all instinctive, gut feel, biases, subconscious, all this kind of stuff. That's really quick decision making. And then you've got your kind of system 2, which is slower, logical, long-term or slower thinking. But what tends to happen is that because we think so quickly, our subconscious kind of play into that. So if you take the example of a workplace environment, you could take over a new team, and this happens, I would say, frequently, where you take over a team and there might be someone on that team who's struggling or not performing as well they should do, and when you take a handover from the previous boss or you talk to people, they may say, oh yeah, this got a great team, but this person is a bit lazy or not very good. And we all want to be impartial and we all want to be fair, but it's very hard not to confirm some of your biases subconsciously. So what could happen is that this person that you've taken over could be great, well, not great, but perform fine for a couple of weeks. They do one thing wrong or something which confirms what you've been told about them, and you'll be like, oh yes, yeah, no, they're a bit lazy, and you've forgotten all about the other stuff.
All the good, So the confirmation bias will have you tendency to subconsciously look for the confirmation of that bias.
Yes,
of that said. So subconsciously, you're looking for that to confirm that the person is what they said they was, and you'll bypass. What you're saying is you'll end up bypassing, the 99 good things that they did.
Yes,
and you'll focus more on that one negative thing.
Yes,
for the confirmation.
Exactly, unless you're very aware of your biases or just aware of your decision making. So, this is why I always encourage people when they take over teams is that yes, you need to talk to previous team leaders and other people and get an idea about how the team are and the personnel, but don't accept everything, believe nobody, and confirm everything.
All right. Okay. And then another way of also getting around that is don't take the words of just one person.
Exactly.
Take the word. Don't take the idea of just one person. If you're taking over a team, get everybody's point of view on everybody.
And that's really that.
So if they were to ask me how I felt about you, all the negative stuff that I would actually have to say, they might want to talk to you to say that, hey, hey, Gavin, I do bring some positive stuff to this workplace, Wizards.
You wouldn't have very much.
You don't have to leave. You're still welcome.
But even that's a challenge, though, because even if you ask the whole team, what are you going to be careful of? You don't have some kind of bubble of thought process.
Right.
People create their own kind of view about somebody because they just want to agree with everybody else. Well, actually, sometimes I've seen that quite a lot actually in policing, where you've got someone who people think, oh, they're not very good, but you just give someone a chance, give them a different opportunity, and absolutely they're fine, or they fly and just do really, really well. Sometimes people just need a chance, okay? But we can create, even one team, you can create cliques and that type of thing. So you've got to be careful who you're talking to, even within a wider scope, that you're not talking to within a clique. And you are getting the view from other people. It's quite tricky.
Okay, so I think you're talking to click.
I'll say click. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'd say that would be people that are in a clique and they were all gathered together. So yeah, you're going to get pretty much the same information from every single person in that clique.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. But it also goes the other way. So therefore, you could be. I like what you said. Trust no one. Would you? What was the stating?
It's called the ABC. It's about investigations. You accept nothing, believe nobody, and confirm everything.
Yes. So with that being said, that gives that person an opportunity to actually prove themselves, and then you need to actually pay attention to what this person is doing and saying, because that is the reality. This is who that person is. And what they do and what they say, and not what everybody else has said, but what this person's actions are. So those are the things that you would really like to pay attention to. So we're going to have to cut this one short, Gavin. I think we could go all day long on talking about biases. However, like we said, we want to welcome you. Thank you for joining us at Workplace Wizards Podcast. We're helping individuals and organizations improve the workplace environment. Our sponsor is Small World Solutions, where we have the strategic performance systems, which you'll need to get to join us. And to join us and get those, you may want to come and follow us at smallworldsolutions.net, or you can even text us if you have any information or question that you'd like to ask. Text us at 754-971-7007, and we may even put you on the podcast with us. So, for that being said, I'm your host, Arnold Smalley, saying goodbye for today.
Gavin Watt, goodbye.